Can't you see, love is the drug for me. Doesn't seem to be anybody in the chat. Is there anybody in the chat? Is there anybody in the chat? Don't see anybody asking any questions. Hi guys, hope yous are all well. If yous can please let me know who's in the chat. Just trying out this YouTube live streaming. Doesn't seem to be. Hi there, hello Sebic Games. I've got my Save Movement Scotland shirt on. First off, I want to actually send out loving condolences to all the people that had actually been harmed today in the attack in London. If you don't actually know about this, guys, basically there was revellers with 12-inch knives shouting, "This is for Allah." Actually, it turns out that Theresa May said this is no relation in the free attacks that's actually happened recently about obviously the terrorism, because there was actually, it was in London Bridge actually before. What actually happened before, there was 4 killed in London Bridge a few months ago, plus 50 injured. And obviously the last attack at Manchester in the, hi Nat, how are you? In the Ariana Grande concert, where actually there was 22 killed and actually 7 were children. But today, like I say, it turns out there's actually been 7 killed and there's been 50 being treated as really injured. Like I say, they were actually wearing explosive vests, but the police actually confirmed it was a hoax. Nice to hear that you're doing good, Nat. I hope the chat's going well. I hope you can hear me properly. Like I say, police were actually called at 10:08 PM. Hi Tim, how are you, mate? Like I say, they were called at 10:08 PM to reports of a vehicle driving over pedestrians in London Bridge and onto Borough Market. And it said 3 men actually left the van and stabbing people, including a policeman. They were confronted and shot by the police within 8 minutes of the call being actually been made. And there's been 7 dead and 50 treated as injured. And it's been the 3rd attack in 3 months. Like I say, they were shouting out that it was for Allah, but Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, has actually said that it's in no relation to the actual other 3 attacks, but basically terrorism breeds terrorism, and we know that only too well, guys. That they are horrible now. It's really, really terrible. To let you know, I'm out in my garden, by the way, so if you can see the sun, hear me proper as ever, that's great. Sending you love as well, Tim. I've got my Save Movement Scotland shirt on. I'm out in the garden. It's a lovely, lovely day here in Scotland, so I just thought, why not do it in the garden? Nat had actually asked me a question. She said, how am I really doing in real life at the moment? Because obviously in recovery you do kind of try to put on a brave face. Like I say, you guys don't always see the other 23 hours of the day that I'm not on camera. So to let you a bit about how I'm actually doing in recovery, I'm doing great in recovery. Like I say, I'm obviously gaining weight. That's really, really important in recovery. Like I say, you don't recover unless you do gain weight. I'm obviously doing a lot in the media. I'm doing a lot with my Save Movement Scotland that I help with. I was actually on the Natural exhibition yesterday. We were actually on a stall giving out flyers, selling merchandise for the Lotus Sanctuary that's actually getting built in Scotland, which will only be the 2nd sanctuary in Scotland ever. And this one will actually be helping animals and humans as well, doing a lot of therapy and such like. So yeah, I'm doing well, but I'm going through a lot of body issues at the moment, Nat, so I would like to put that out there. I'm really, really struggling looking in the mirror. I feel as if I'm fat and such likes, and people's comments when they say I look well, my eating disorder suddenly shouts out to me, say, oh, see, that means you are fat, you know what I mean? Because your eating disorder thrives in these things. Your eating disorder will always do the opposite of what you actually feel. But I need to get over that. That's part of the hurdle, that's part of recovery, and I know I really need to do that. So that's where I'm at the moment, but I've got a lot I want to achieve. I'm actually looking into becoming a therapist as well, so I'm doing courses on therapy to actually help guys with eating disorders as well. So that's something I'm really looking forward to doing on my channel, but further down the line when I'm obviously qualified. I'm obviously looking into doing yoga courses because it's helped me so much in my eating disorder recovery, and I do that every single day. Tim says, hey, good news, I'm getting some of my first dislikes now. Tim, dislikes are all good, mate. Dislikes, likes, whatever, as long if you're getting it out there, that's all important. So what I was actually going to talk about, I've wrote a lot of things down here, is basically talking about why we love dogs and eat pigs, and basically we wear animals, like I say, and that's something that a lot of people really don't understand. So I've written a lot of things down here, and I hope that you can actually understand what I'm saying here when I talk about this. So I'm going to put this all out here, guys, just for you to actually kind of understand, because a lot of people don't obviously get the connection of obviously the cruelty that goes on at the animals. Basically, could you imagine for a moment this kind of scenario? You're a guest at a dinner party, or say you're seated with the other guests at a really set nice table. The room is warm, candlelight flickers and such likes across wine glasses and nice plates. The conversation's obviously flowing really well. You smell all this nice food for the kitchen. You've basically not eaten all day and your stomach is really growling. You're hungry. At last, you actually get the food after a few hours. Your friends are obviously hosting it, and the party emerges with a steaming pot of savoury stew. The aromas of things like meat, seasonings and vegetables obviously fill in the room. You serve yourself a big generous portion, and after eating several mouthfuls of tender meat, you ask your friend for the recipe. They obviously say, oh, they'd be happy to help you. You begin with things like 5 pounds of golden retriever meat, well marinated, and then golden retriever, you say. You probably feel kind of mid-bite as you consider these words. The meat in your mouth is from a dog, basically. And then what now? Let's say, do you continue eating? Or are you revolted by the fact that that's actually a golden retriever on your plate and you've just eaten some? Do you pick up that meat and eat the vegetables around it? If you're like most people, I say, when you hear that you've actually been eating your dog, the feelings have obviously automatically changed from pleasure to some actual disgust. I say, you might also feel turned off by eating vegetables in the stew, obviously, as if they were somehow tainted by the meat. I say, but let's suppose that your friend laughs and she's actually playing a practical joke. The meat isn't a golden retriever after all, but it's actually beef. How do you feel about the food then? Would you actually eat it because you don't get that connection to the dog? You get the connection to the dog, but you don't get the connection to the animal, which is the beef, which is actually the cow. Do you remember consuming the same enthusiasm that you had before eating that meal? Chances are that you've actually eaten the stew on the plate, and that's exactly the same savoury moments you've actually had earlier. So what's actually going on? Like I say, the problem with eating dogs, like I say, such a shift in perception can actually feel like a shift in 2 lanes of a 2-lane road. Crossing the yellow lane obviously radically alters your own experience. The reason we all kind of have this such powerful response is basically a shift in perception, because our perceptions basically determine in large part our reality. How we perceive a situation, the meaning, the way we make it determines what we actually think and how we feel about it. In turn, basically our thoughts and feelings obviously determine how we act. Like I say, most people obviously perceive dog meat very differently than they do eating beef. Nice to see you, dear X. So I say, therefore, dog meat is basically how we view cows, and dogs differently. Like I say, the most frequent and often the only contact we have with cows is when we eat or basically wear them. And that's really important that people understand that. But for a large amount of people, our relationships with dogs is in many ways not differently from how we obviously have a relationship with people. We call them by their names, we say goodbye, we obviously leave and greet them when we return, we show them love, we share our beds with them, we play with them, we buy them gifts, we carry them pictures in our wallets as well. Hi, nice to see you, Keegan Lewis. So like I say, we talk to them, basically we like doctor when we're sick, and we spend thousands of pounds obviously in their treatment. We bury them when they pass away. They make us laugh, they make us cry. They're basically our helpers, and we're friends, and we're family, and we treat dogs as we're family. We love them, we love dogs, and we eat cows, not because dogs and cows are fundamentally different. Cows, like dogs, have feelings, preferences and consciousness, because of our perception of them is different, and consequently our perception of meat is different as well. Like I say, in cultures around the world, it's obviously common to reject the meat of certain animal species, and taboos, obviously the consumption of meat is far more common than those regarded in any of other foods. Moreover, violations of meat, obviously taboos. Derek says, I'm funny with you, Tommy, and I've got a question, have you kids? I've not got kids, Derek. The reason why I've not got kids is my wife has actually had ovarian cancer in the past. She actually suffered 4 miscarriages and I had to have a full hysterectomy, so we can't obviously have kids. That's one thing that absolutely kills me and my wife. We've looked into adoption and such likes, but because of our health in the past, that's obviously not an option we can go down. So basically our babies are our fur babies, we're dogs, we're cats, such like. So great question, Derek. So obviously as well, not only do our perceptions of meat obviously vary based on the species of the animal it came from, but differently humans obviously perceive it. Tommy, Tim says, but Tommy, if you want to adopt me, I'll adopt you, Tim. Let's say, but different, obviously humans obviously perceive the same meat. For example, a Hindu might obviously have the same response as a Christian would to obviously dog meat. These variations obviously in perceptions are due to the schema. Keegan Lewis says, me too, haha. A schema is basically a psychological framework that obviously shaped by our beliefs, ideas, perceptions and experiences, and it automatically organises and interprets incoming information. For example, nice to see you here, Jennifer, as well. For example, when you hear the word nurse, you probably envision a woman who obviously wears a medical uniform and works in a hospital, even though a number of male nurses dress opposed to obviously nurses in variety and obviously settings. Generalisation are obviously result of schema, obviously doing what they're supposed to do, sorting through and obviously interpreting the vast amount of stimuli we're constantly exposed to it and putting it into a general categories. Like I say, schemas act as a mental classification and schemas. We have schema for every subject, including animals. An animal can be classified, for example, as prey, predatory, pest, pet, or obviously food. How we classify an animal basically determines how we relate to it, whether we hunt it, whether from exterminate it. Nice to see you, Laura, my dear wife. Love to you. So some overlap can obviously occur. Categories as an animal obviously can be prey or food, but when it comes to meat, most animals are either food or not food. In other words, we have schema that classifies animals as edible and unedible. Like I say, in some interesting happenings when we're actually confronted with meat, for an animal we're classified as inedible, we obviously automatically picture the living animal from which it came from, and we tend to feel disgusted at the notion of obviously eating it. Derek says, hello, all in the stream, like for it, 1k likes. Get it up there, thanks very much, mate, I really appreciate that. Like I say, if you can imagine it, golden retriever, meat, stimulus, it's basically an inedible animal, but that's your belief and your perception. Image of living with a dog is the thought, disgust is the feeling, refusal or reluctance to eat the meat is the action. So like I say, let's get back to that kind of imagined at dinner party that I was talking about. When you're out, you're eating a golden retriever, you had such a notion and situation that actually occurred. You actually smelled the same smells and the taste and the flavours you obviously had minutes before it. But now your mind probably would have formed a picture of eating a golden retriever. perhaps bounding across the yard and obviously chasing a ball, curled up next to a fire, obviously loving you, running along and when you're jogging or such likes. In these images were actually likely to come emotions such as empathy or concern for that dog that had obviously been killed, and thus the disgust or obviously the thought of eating the animal. In contrast, like I say, if you're like most people, Tim says, well, you got to get out more in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts more. Yeah, get out the comments. Like I say, any thoughts you want me to answer, guys, please get them out there. That's what I'm here for. Q&A, ask anything away. So like I say, instead you simply see the food and the focus on its flavour, aroma and texture. Derek says, question, train your dogs. I do train my dogs in a way, like I say, but my dogs are equal to me, and that's what I want to do. I always put that out there. I'm vegan, my animals just live as much as me, and that's what I say. Everything I have, my dogs should have, because the animals are sentient to us, and that's what I want to put out there. Every single animal should be not prioritised over another animal, whether that's a dog, a pig, a cow, anything. They're all sentient, they all feel pain, they all can think. I train my dogs in a way, like I say, but they don't always answer to them. Exactly, Laura, the dogs have their own mind, and that's really important though. They should do what they want to do. So like I say, when you're obviously confronted with beef and such likes, we generally skip the part. Exactly, Tim, when I feel our pets are equal to you, exactly. So like I say, when we talk about the general part of obviously meat and obviously living animal, sure, we all know that beef actually comes from the animal, but when we eat it, we tend to avoid thinking about this. In fact, let's say literally thousands of people, obviously, we obviously see online, both through work and obviously personally, have admitted they actually feel the thought about a living cow while eating the beef, when obviously they would obviously feel uneasy, and sometimes they're even unable to eat it. This is why many people obviously avoid eating meat, because it resembles the fact that the animal from which it actually came from. So like I say, that the missing link is that it's an old phenomenon that we obviously react to the idea of eating dogs and obviously the inedible animals, even strangers in fact, in any way that we don't react to the idea of eating cows and other edible animals. There's that unescapable and unexplained gap, that basically the missing link in how would you put it, perpetual process basically, when it obviously comes to edible species. We fail to make that connection between meat and its basically animal source. Exactly, and that all animals should and pets should be loved, exactly. And that's what I always say. The people that's vegan always say, should you have pets? Yeah, you should have pets, like I say, because as long as you're looking after them and you're doing everything you possibly can. And I've always said my dogs and everything will never be vegan, because basically my form of veganism and what I look is doing what I know is best for the animals. And I know, because the veterinary surgeons have told me that my vet dogs and everything couldn't survive on a vegan diet. I'll never do that, and that's not because I prioritise any animal over my dogs. That's because it's about doing what's best for the animals. So like I say, basically, why are we not adverse to eating the variety of animals, the kind of very small selection of animals we have deemed inevitable? Basically, the evidence strongly suggests that our lack of disgust, I agree with you there, Jenny, yeah, exactly. Basically, the lack of disgust is not entirely learned. Basically, we aren't what I talked about with schemas. They're basically constructed. Our schemas have evolved out of a highly structural belief system. The system obviously dictates which animals are obviously edible and basically unedible to us to consume. And that's by us protecting us from any emotional feeling and obviously psychological discomfort when we're doing so. Basically, Bins Q says, my horse is vegan, but I bet he'd eat cheeseburgers if he could. Yeah, exactly, probably. Obviously horses as well, they're bred in the grass and such likes, grass and obviously grain and such likes, that's their natural habitat. Let's say this system obviously makes us how we feel. Let's say the most obvious feeling as we lose it is disgust, yet beneath us the disgust lies an emotional, more integral sense of obviously feeling and empathy. So I say the primary defence of the system is basically invisibility. Invisibility reflects our defences and obviously avoidance and denial, and is basically the foundation on which all mechanisms stand. Like I say, invisibility enables us, for example, to obviously consume beef without envisaging the animal that we're obviously eating. Tim says, well, the point is when you have no food, you can eat whatever you can. Yeah, exactly, like I say, it's about survival, and that's what they teach in the Bible, which I'm obviously going to talk about later. Like I say, the invisibility, what I'm talking about, is basically from the unpleasant process of raising and killing animals for our food. The first step is obviously deconstructing meat, and then deconstructing the invisibility of the system, exposing the principles and obviously practices as a system has obviously, since its obviously inception, and hiding it. So I obviously wanted to talk about as well, if you've not seen James Aspey's latest video, he talks about the Christian obviously says to him that animals were here to obviously, basically to make us thrive, that animals are basically here to serve us and basically for us to eat. And there's a great quote by Leo Tolstoy, what actually says, when the suffering of another creature causes you to feel pain, do not submit to the initial desire to feel free from suffering one, but on the contrary, come closer, as close as you can to him who suffers, and try to help. And I'm going to talk a lot about what it actually says in the Bible, and basically this lets you know that you basically should be vegan. First off is in Genesis 1, it says, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit, and you shall have them for food, and to the very best of you, the very beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so, and God saw that everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good, and therefore everything, evening and the morning, was a sixth day. And that's basically telling you that we should be living off plants and fruits of the earth. And obviously it does say later on that you should only indulge in meat in extreme famine, such as the flood and such like. So that's really important, and that's one thing I hate about Christianity, because they always say thou shalt not kill, but they don't get that connection that thou shalt not kill means every single animal, and we are animals. And that's one thing that Christians really don't understand, and I always hate when I go to the church and they basically put that out as the commandments, yet they're tucking into things like steak pie and such likes, because my minister actually says, oh, thou shalt not kill, that means every sentient being, and then she goes on to say, but I love my steak pie and chips. You know what I mean? Because you're basically preaching the God's word, yet you're actually going against what the Bible says. It's absolutely crazy, guys, and I will do a video on this, basically talking about what actually, basically a reaction video to James Aspey's. The next one is actually in Numbers chapter 23 verse 28, and it's basically talking about Balaam. Nice to see you here, Procolo YT. Say my name, Procolo YT, the Procolo YT. The Procolo YT, that's your name, I hope I've said it right. So talking about Balaam basically was beating this ass, and it says, then the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said to Balaam, what have I done to you, that you have struck me by these 3 times? And Balaam said to the ass, because you have made sport of me, I wish I had a sword in my hand, and then I would kill you. And the ass said to Balaam, I am not your ass. Dude, you're awesome. You too, mate. Upon which you have ridden all of life long to this day. Was I ever accustomed to do so to you? And then he said no. So basically that's letting you know that the ass feels pain, it thinks for itself, and that's that's basically telling you all animals are sentient, and that's another one that a lot of people don't obviously get upon, is that animals are sentient, they feel pain, they think for themselves as well. The last one I'll put out to you is in Proverbs 22, be not among wine bibbers or among gluttons, eaters of meat. That's basically telling you that we shouldn't obviously be consuming these things. The last one, actually, Philippians, it says, where is it? Is it Colossians? Colossians actually says, their end is destruction, their God is belly, and their glory is in shame, with minds set on earthly things, but our commonwealth is in heaven, and from it we await a Saviour, the Lord Jesus Christ, who will change our lowly body to be like his glorious body by the power that enables him even to the subject of all things. So basically that's telling you basically about that basically our destruction is in our belly, because we consume animals, and it's basically we're destructing the planet, we're killing all animals, and we're also killing ourselves by obviously the cancers, the heart disease and the strokes, the things that these animal products actually inflict on ourselves. So I hope that's kind of put out a kind of word. Local YT says, I subscribe to you, bro, now I want to win a gift card, please. I'll be subscribing to you, mate. I really appreciate that. Thanks very much. So anybody, any questions you would like to ask me? I'm just going to finish off this stream in a little few minutes. I just wanted to come on here and obviously speak to you all guys, put out my message about what I was obviously talking about veganism, obviously Christianity. Like I say, any questions you've got to ask about eating disorders, anything at all, basically my life in general, that's what I'm out here to put. Like I say, obviously I want to ask you as well, any of you guys here in the chat just now, or anybody that's watching it later on, I want to change up my channel. So this channel is not mine, this channel is yours guys, because that's what I do this for, to help you guys. So I want to kind of do different videos. Is there anything you would like me to do? Anything at all? Leave it in the comments or after this video, because like I say, this channel is yours guys. It's really, really important. Nat says, sorry off topic, but my cat decided to cuddle with me. That's great, Nat. Like I say, sending you the love, because they're giving you love. You will win a gift card. Like I say, if you want to win a gift card, let me know. I might start doing that actually, kind of gift cards to you guys. If you can get me up to 10,000 subscribers, I might do a gift card, like a £50 gift cards, or £50 gift card. Vince Q says, how are you feeling with all that blue sky? Superb choice of... Yeah, blue sky is absolutely great. It's lovely. Like I say, it makes you feel absolutely brilliant. Natural vitamin D. That's what it's all about, getting out and enjoying life. Like I say, every single minute. Don't let life pass you by. If you've got dreams you want to do, pursue it. You'll have seen that in my video this morning that I talked about negativity and people, how it breeds and how it derails what you want to do in life. Don't let that happen. Like I say, Procolo Local YT says, okay, here's my question. Did you read the story of Jesus? I have read the story of Jesus, yeah. I've read every single bit of the Bible, but I would like to start getting back to it, because like I say, it's about, it depends what kind of reading you actually do. Like if you read the Old Testament or the New Testament, there's a lot of different descriptions and obviously how it's translated with the Old Testament, and a lot of the words obviously get lost. It's really, really important, like Tim Gare says, what story of Jesus exactly? What story of Jesus? Is that the New Testament? Is it the Old Testament? Like I say, there's a lot of different doctrine as well. Like there's a lot of many different descriptions and how it's translated. It depends, like I say, it depends what you're talking about. So I hope you have liked this stream guys. Like I say, please let me know any videos you want me to start doing on my channel. I want to change things up. I want to start doing things like yoga, more spiritualism, anything at all. I say some fun videos that want to spread fun into this life. I say this is what it's all about. It's always going to be an eating disorder recovery channel and a bit of veganism as well, but it's about moving on for here, showing that recovery is possible, loving life, showing that you can enjoy life. That's what I'm here for. Thank you every single one of you for joining in my stream. Fudge on it is, yeah, exactly, Laura. Fudge on it, Rocky on it, Nala on it, everybody on it. Sending you all my love, and remember, as I always say, binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings. And if you can keep sharing my channel, I'll do a little giveaway for 10,000 subscribers. Thank you from me and my pony. Love to you guys, Ben Q's, Nat. What I wanted to say before I go, if you can keep sharing my channel, and when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'll do a giveaway. If you can let me know, whether it be a gift card or whether you would like me to do some kind of gift or anything at all, just let me know in the comments after this video. Anything at all, I can do a little giveaway. I would love to do that. Maybe even, I might even start doing some things on my channel where, like, if you want any Skype calls with me or anything like that, to obviously speak to me in person, and anything at all that I can help you with, whether it be eating disorder recovery, veganism. Like I say, I'm not qualified, but what I want to say, what works for me doesn't work for another person, but I'll always share what works for me. But as I say, when I do get qualified down the line, I would love to help you out. Yeah, Tim says, yeah, if you're real big time, then start with the gift cards. I'll definitely do that. Yeah, that's one thing. Binge on life, guys. Purge negativity and starve guilty feelings, and have an amazing, amazing day. Love you so much. Speak to you all very, very soon. Recovery is always grand. You're a good egg. Same to you, my friends. Speak to you soon.